Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short-form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. So now let's get into gaming and tech. We have a bunch of follow-ups here as well. We do have a little bit more regular news to get into for this section, but by and large, today is all about the follow-ups, man. So first things first, we have Halo Infinite's Forge mode that we need to talk about. So in the Halo Championship Series, there was a tournament this past weekend. I believe it was in Orlando. I might be misremembering that because I didn't put it in the notes because I take amazing notes. But we did get another tournament, and to start off the tournament, we had a Throwback Throwdown. We had teams that were around in the Halo 3 days also coming back just for this Throwback Throwdown. And the big thing here, again, we're talking about Halo Infinite's Forge mode, which is, just a couple of weeks, just a few weeks away. I think it's coming in November. We got to see the Forge in action because this Throwback Throwdown, we got 2 rounds on the pit, as it kind of was in Halo 3, as built in Halo Infinite's Forge mode. I wasn't a big fan of some of the textures and things because it looks very much Metal Gear Solid VR missions-y. But still was pretty awesome to see how faithful this was to the Halo 3 version of the pit. And it was a lot of fun to see a lot of those older dudes who are about my age playing some Halo at a professional level still. So that was pretty awesome. I was super stoked about it. I hope you were too. I'll get a link in the description. You can check it out if you have not yet. Is this enough though? That is the question that we always come back to when we talk Halo Infinite. Is this going to be enough for the community to keep this game alive, or are those rumors correct that maybe now that we're getting a new lead for 343 that it's gonna go in a different direction? We're gonna be getting a new game much sooner. Moving next to NetherRealm Studios, Ed Boon recently, actually twice over the last week, has done a Twitter AMA, which always is a lot more cacophonous and crazy than I think he anticipates, or maybe he expects it, and that's why he does it this way, so it's harder to follow. But he's opened up questions for, I believe, like an hour or two. It could have been a little bit longer than that. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting thing to see. But a big thing that came out of the second of these 2 AMAs is a tweet where he said that the gaming studio, quote, has more than one pot on the stove, unquote, when asked how the next game is coming along by someone in the Mortal Kombat community. Apparently there is more than one thing that is happening at NetherRealm Studios. That is super interesting. So this has led the community to kind of speculate. So we're not talking about this in rumors because this is something that Boon actually said. So we're covering it as news because now we are acknowledging the speculation. So speculation has been that we're going to be getting Mortal Kombat 12, but also we're going to be getting some other game, a la Shaolin Monks 2 or the Scorpion and Sub-Zero game that we were supposed to get like 15 years ago. Something along those lines. The other end of that speculation is that, yes, they are working on Mortal Kombat 12, but they also have a team working on some sort of arcade edition or arcade collection rather, version 2 that includes everything up to MK4. Just all over the place and everything in between those two. So, and I think one of my other favorite ones, as far as the community speculation goes, is that they're working on another game combining everything that's happened so far in the Warner Brothers era, because somebody made a very erroneous graphic, but a graphic nonetheless, that collects Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, and then it has Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And then the next row down has Mortal Kombat 4, Deception, Deadly Alliance, and then Mortal Kombat Armageddon, as kind of insinuating that that is a collection of those 3 games, much like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, or Mortal Kombat Trilogy, rather. I correct myself. Mortal Kombat Trilogy was a collection of the previous 3 before it, and then it shows Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11, and then has a blank box, like, let's get another combination game of all those 3. Very much leaving out a whole lot of stuff that happened, like Mortal Kombat versus DC didn't get thrown into anything, and that's technically Mortal Kombat 8. And Trilogy doesn't factor into the count unless you're going by TRMK's count of things, and they count Trilogy as an evolved version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which is an evolved version of Mortal Kombat 3. So it just kind of continues, but none of that really fits when you break it down. So just an interesting little bit of community news for the Mortal Kombat nerds. There is potentially going to be a thing beyond just whatever the next fighting game is, because we know that is NetherRealm's bread and butter. So we know that that is going to, at the very least, be the next thing, is a fighting game. What that fighting game is, very likely to be Mortal Kombat 12, though it also could possibly be something else in their oeuvre or something new, but it is going to be a fighting game. And we're going to be getting something else. Is it going to be another platformer? Is it going to be another brawler, a la Shaolin Monks or whatever? That is very much up to speculation, and it's fun to think about. But let's move right along. Other follow-ups in gaming and tech. Next, we're talking about Splinter Cell. We did talk about this previously, but we now have a job listing by Ubisoft. So it was announced, I believe, a year ago that they are working on a Splinter Cell reboot. Now, in this new job listing, there is the term in there that the story mode is going to be, quote, rewritten for a modern audience, unquote. What does that mean? Presumably, it means, we've gone through a lot since the last Splinter Cell game has released, as far as, like, politics and the espionage things and spy things in the world beyond gaming. A lot of stuff has happened, and a lot of people are much more educated in the potential, like, shadiness of governments. So that stuff all needs to be considered when writing a new Splinter Cell game. So I think that is more in line, judging by the way the rest of the interview with the lead developer went recently. Judging by that stuff and these specific words, which may have been poorly chosen, admittedly, but it seems that it's going to be more in line with just the general population has a better education as to how espionage-like things might function, because they've been covered in major news outlets. So you have to, add that to the lore. I don't think that the stigma version of updated for modern audiences is going to apply much, though it is modern gaming, so very potentially story mode is going to, have some sort of social justice check marks that it has to go through. I just don't think that is going to be the focus of a Splinter Cell game necessarily. I could very much be proven wrong. It just feels like they're going to go in a smarter direction. But that's just me, and let's move on. Next, we're talking about E3. We got official word that E3 is going to happen in 2023, and it's going to happen June 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And it's going to be in LA like it always is. That's really the only thing we have about E3, so let's move right along. And our final follow-up has to do with that Grand Theft Auto 6 leak that we talked about previously. It seems that police officials in the UK believe they have at least one person associated with this leak / hack / whatever Take-Two is trying to bill it as, so that they can take legal action against these people who have breached their company's security, rightfully so. The name of the kid wasn't released. He is 17 years old, and he is believed to be part of a larger hacker group. Didn't write down the hacker group because I take amazing notes, but yeah, GTA 6 leak is not out of the news cycle yet because these things are going to keep happening. And so we're going to keep covering, but that's all we got for now. Let's move into regular ass news. And then first up, we're talking about Netflix gaming. We've talked about this previously, but this is a different kind of issue inside of Netflix gaming. So before it was Netflix is going to do gaming streaming options through their platform for mobile. And that was really all we had. Now there is a bit of an evolution to this, which is why it's not a technical follow-up. This is brand new, and Netflix is starting their own developer. Their in-house developer is going to be led by EA and Zynga alum Marko Lastikka. He's going to be the director of the studio, and that's all we know so far because it's going to be a while before they can develop a game. Usually that time frame takes from 3 to 5 years, and they just got the guy in the position, so they got to fill out all the rest of the positions. So it's very likely we're not going to see anything before like 2026, I would imagine, and even that's a little soon. So it's going to be a while, but we will be hearing things from Netflix gaming in the not too distant future. All right, and then our next one is more tech than anything else. This one has to do with Audacity, popular audio editing program because it's free. Audacity is getting some well-deserved updates. The new version of Audacity is going to allow for non-destructive editing, so you can edit a little bit more like you're in, say, Adobe Premiere or Reaper or, you know, any other high-end audio editing software that you have to pay money for. Plus, Muse Audio Group, I believe is the name. Muse Group is what it's called. They have fixed the issues that the VSTs were giving the program, as well as increased the compatibility with VSTs to also include VST3s. If all of this sounds like Greek to you, let me break this down for you. So, very popular free program, Audacity. Previously was a little hard to deal with. There were user interface issues, there were compatibility issues with VSTs, there were stability issues, so on and so forth. But it was free, so a lot of people use it because podcasts are everywhere and everyone tries to start a podcast, and one of the best ways to do that is with as much free stuff as you can because overhead is a thing. So what this is doing is making Audacity much more viable in the grander scheme of things. People are more likely to stick with Audacity for longer before they need to do things like multi-track recording, so on and so forth. So I have yet to use the most recent version of Audacity. I used Audacity when I first got into doing podcasts and stuff about 6 years ago, and have since moved on a little bit. But all of these updates make me intrigued. There's going to be a general user interface update as well. So I'm very much intrigued as to what the functionality will be now that Audacity is getting upgraded. So yeah, that is everything we have in gaming. And oh no, I take it back. There's a little bit more to the Audacity thing. Wow, I got to read my notes better. So on top of all of that, now collaboration is going to be much easier with somebody who doesn't share the room with you because they are starting a website that you access through the app, I believe. That it's called audio.com. You can also access it through a browser. Audio.com, so you can share your files with collaborators or just share them in a social media type environment. Again, have yet to use this new version of Audacity, but seems very intriguing. So that, my fellow nerds, is exactly everything that we have to talk about in gaming and tech, except for gaming and tech suggestions. This one, kind of in line with our the Halloween theme that we're going with suggestions, is Mortal Kombat 11. It's been a while since I recommended this. It's been a while since, honestly, since I have played 11 because I've been so elbows deep in Halo Infinite and honestly Halo Master Chief Collection that just I forgot my roots for a second. So this is your friendly reminder to play the most recent installment of Mortal Kombat. As, you know, the year still is not up. We do still have the official birthday in October for Mortal Kombat. So we still could get some sort of awesome announcement very soon on the 30th birthday of Mortal Kombat, but I'm definitely not holding my breath. Either way, play Mortal Kombat 11 to bide the time, won't you? Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.